some sort of a workshop, the transitioners, but now I think they're just partying because it's lunchtime. Yeah, it's very annoying anyway. So I don't know whether I should be the Grinch and go out and shout at them or just pretend I can't hear. Right, anyway, Sarah, to get back to that, right, to answer the question, if you end up with 6/3, you'd have to simplify. Oh, yay, at last. Right, okay. If you end up with something like 6/3, 6 divided by 3 is?
Mrs. Carter said that we just had a basketball match, so we can go to have a break.
Oh yeah, right, great. Okay. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, isn't it? So you'd have to simplify that. Whereas if you ended up with something with 4/3, does 3 divide evenly into 4? No. So you leave it as 4/3. So if it divides, like if you ended up with 8/2, you could divide that. 8/2 would be 4, wouldn't it? Right? Okay, whereas if you ended up with something like 3/7, that doesn't simplify, so you don't simplify. So if it simplifies, you simplify it, and if it doesn't, you leave it. Yes?
Can I get something for Biscuit Joe?
Yes? What's she looking for?
Oh, exam paper. She did there in a small box.
In that green box there, is it? No?
Oh, I think it's this one. This one, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right, okay. Are we good? Right, okay, I'll go on to correct last night's homework. So the first question you had was number 2. Right, okay, so number 2 you had to do rise over run. Right, so for A, right, the rise is it's going up 3 boxes and it's going over 2 boxes. Did you get that? For A, rise over run. B, and it's a positive slope. So B is equal to rise is 2 over 2 boxes over. Now we can simplify that. 2/2 is the same as what? 1. So if you can simplify it, you simplify it. If you can't, you leave it as it is. Does that make sense to everyone? Right, C, rise over run, it's up 1 box and it's over 3 boxes, is it? Right, did you get that? Right, and D, right, okay, D, the rise is 2 boxes and the run is 2 boxes, but you look at that line and you say, does it have a positive or a negative slope? Negative, so you need to put a minus in front. You can also simplify 2/2 and get what? Yeah, -1 is your answer. Is that okay? Right, okay, the next one you had was number 3. Right, okay, so it's just the red line for number 3, so you do rise over run. So they haven't it marked in, but in order to go for the front at the top of the line to the end of the line, you go up 2 and over 3. Agreed? Right, for B, and it's positive. For B, the rise is 3 and the run is 2. Did you get that? Nobody's agreeing? And for C, the rise is 4 and the run is 2. And you can simplify that. 4/2 is 2. Is that right? Okay. Alright, sorry, for number 3 it says which line has a slope of 3/2? Answer B. What's the slope of line A? 2/3. And what's the slope of line C? 2. Is that right? So sorry, I didn't see the question, so I just went straight to getting the slopes. Right, okay. The next question you had was number 10. Say that again. 10. Yeah? Right, number 10. Right, it says the slope of the line is 3/4, slope of line L is 3/4. So line L has a slope of 3/4. Write down a slope of line M which is parallel. So if M is parallel lines have the same slope, don't they? So what's the answer? 3/4. Right, so the slope of M is also 3/4. And part 2, write down the slope of N is perpendicular. So what's the slope of a perpendicular line? Turn it upside down, change the sign. Answer? -4/3. Is that okay? Right, that was number 10. Number 11 was next. write down the slope of any line that is perpendicular to each of these lines. So the first one is 2 over 3. So what's the slope of a perpendicular line? Minus 3 over 2. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Part 2 said slope of a line is 4 over 5. So what's the slope of a perpendicular line? Minus 5 over 4. Part 3, they say it's minus 3/4. So it's now plus 4 over 3. Now you don't need to put in that plus because plus is understood to be there, yeah? Okay. Then part 4, it says minus 2 over 5. So enter plus 5 over 2. So change the sign to a plus and it's 5 over 2. And you don't need to write in the plus. You can if you want, but you don't need to. Right, and part 5, minus a half. So what's the answer? Plus 2 over 1, isn't it? But 2 over 1 is just what? 2. So your answer is 2. Is that okay? Any questions? Right, and then I also gave you 12. Right, number 12. Right, number 12. The line M contains the points 3 minus 1 and 4 minus 2. Find the slope of any line parallel to M. So we know parallel lines have the same slope, don't we? So if we get the slope of this line, we'll know the slope of a parallel line, wouldn't we? So we have to go back to the slope formula, y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Isn't that right? So we call this x1, y1, and we call this x2, y2. Agreed? And then we fill in. y2 is minus 2. Then we have a sign, minus. Then we have y1. y1 is minus 1. All over x2 is 4. Then we have a minus sign. Then we have x1, which is 3. Okay, I have 2 minuses in a row on top. 2 minuses in a row will give me plus. So into the calculator with that and press equals, and you'll get minus 1 over 1, which is just minus 1. Okay, into the calculator. Yeah, minus 1 over 1. Yeah, so you get minus 1. Is that okay? So that's the slope of that line. What's the slope of a parallel line, which is the question they asked me? What's the slope of a parallel line? Minus 1 also. Right, okay, and then find the slope of a line that's perpendicular. So it's perpendicular to this line. So turn it upside down. It was minus 1 over 1. So turn it upside down. It's now 1 over 1. It stays the same, but instead of minus, it becomes a plus. So it's just plus 1 over 1, which is just plus 1, or just 1. Is that all right? Do we all understand where those figures came from? Are we all good? Right, okay. So now I want to talk about the equation of a line. Okay, I'm moving on pretty fast because, girls, you have to use the slope of parallel lines and or perpendicular lines going forward, so it's going to keep cropping up, so it'll get in there eventually. Okay, is that all right? So the equation of a line. Yeah, this for your notes. The equation of a line. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 5, 5. Okay, here's the line. Right. Okay, here's the line. Okay, so I just put in some points on the line. All these points are on the line. 0, 5, 1, 4, across 1 up 4, across 2 up to 3, across 3 up to 2, across 4 up to 1, across 0, across 5 and up 0. Anyone make any observation about all those points? Can anyone spot a pattern? I can't hear you. You have to shout for the old deaf people. Say that again. They've all? The first number is always going up 1. Yeah, something. I just gave you those points on the line. Any other observation, Victoria? Have you something for me? Yeah, they make a line. Yeah, they make a line. But can anyone say something about the x-coordinate? So look at the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. What about if you add them? If you add the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate, what happens? They all add to what? 5. If you add 0 and 5, you get 5, don't you? If you add 1 and 4, you get 5. If you add 2 and 3, you get 5. If you add 3 and 2, you get 5. If you add 4 and 1, you get 5. If you add 5 and 0, you get 5. This point here would be 6 minus 1. If you add those, what you get? 5. So basically, girls, if you take the x-coordinate of on any point on that line and you add the y-coordinate, you'll always get what? 5. Is that true for every line? Do they all add up to give you 5? No. It's just true. It's a unique pattern for this line. This is called x plus y equals 5 is called the equation of a line. And each equation is a unique line. Yes. Zoom in. Can you read them now, is it? I'll push it up now in a sec, or I'll reduce it in a minute. Yeah. Yeah, do that. That would be great. Okay, can I reduce again? Has everyone got those points? Yeah. Right, okay, I'll just minimize again so you can see the... Right, x plus 5 is called the equation of a line. Right, and as I say, every line has a unique equation. Okay, so I'm going to do one more line. Okay, I'll leave you write that a sec. Sorry. Right, okay, this line. I'm going to see, can you come up with the equation of this line? That's 0, 3. 1, 4, 0, 3. This is minus 1, 2. This is minus 2, 1. This is minus 3, 0. Okay, so I'll just magnify those so you can write them down. Sorry, that says 1, 4. This one here is 0, 3, minus 1, 2, minus 2, 1, minus 3, 0. Okay, their writing is pretty small. Sorry, it's hard to read. So 1, 4, 0, 3, minus 1, 2, minus 2, 1, minus 3, 0. Anyone come up with a pattern? So it's, sorry? Well, that 1 and 4 gives you 5. 0 and 3 only gives you 3. Yeah, so can I give you a hint? Take them away. So 1 take away 4 would give you what? It wouldn't. It would give you minus 3. 0 take away 3, what would that be? Minus 3. Minus 1 minus 2 would give you? Minus 3. Minus 2 minus 1? Minus 3 minus 0? Minus 3. So basically, girls, the equation of that line is x. If you take any x coordinate on that line, take away the y coordinate, it will give you minus 3. Okay? And that's also the equation of that line. And that's unique to that line. There's no other line in the plane that has that equation. Okay? They're hard to come up with, aren't they, by yourself? Yeah. Right? Okay? It's really hard to come up with them. Because some of them you have to double the x and then take away the y. Or something like that. Yes? Yeah. Zoom out now. Yeah, sorry. Right? So they're really hard to come up with by themselves. So guess what? There's a formula. Yay. There's a formula. Okay? So the formula for the equation of the line, and it's in the log tables. So it's y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Now this one is slightly different to the rest of them, girls, right? Because you fill in for x1 and y1. So you fill in x1, y1. So that means we need 1 point. So you fill in x1, y1, and you fill in m. What do you think m stands for? Slope, yeah. So you need the slope. So you know in every one we had so far, the midpoint, the distance, the slope, we needed 2 points, and you had x1, y1, x2, y2, right? For this one, we need 2 different things. We need 1 point. We only need 1 point, which you call x1, y1, and you need the slope, okay? So you don't need 2 points, you need 1 point and a slope, okay? Right? And you'll be filling in for that y1, you fill in for that m, and you fill in for that x1. You never fill in for x and y, because look, if you look at the equation of line, there's an x and y in the answer, isn't there? Okay.
Just leave that as y and x?
Yeah, you just leave it as x and y when you're filling it in. Yeah, okay. So I'll do an example and then you'll know what I'm trying to say to you. So example 1. Equation of the line. Can I move it up? Is that okay? Which passes through uh, 1, 3 and has a slope of 2. Is that all right? Okay, so it passes through the line 1, 3. It's all right, Olivia, I'll get in a minute. Passes through 1, 3, so it goes through the point 1, 3, and it has a slope of 2. So you take the point 1, 3, what I call it? It's x1 and y1, because it's the first point, and it's x1 and y1, right? Slope of 2, so we know the slope is the letter m, isn't it? So m is 2. Is that okay? Are we all good? So then you write down the formula. So it's y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Is that okay? So that's, as I say, you only fill in for x1, y1 and m. So you don't fill in for y. Then you have a minus sign. You put in y1. What would that be? 3 equals m 2 into, don't fill in for x, fill in for x1. So what will I put in for x1? 1. That's it. Now you're multiplying out and you're moving everything around. So leave this y minus 3. Multiply into this bracket. What do you get? 2x minus 2. Yeah, you have to multiply everything in the bracket by the 2. Now you move stuff around. You put the x term first, then the y term equal to the number. So you want the x term on the left first, then you want the y term on the left, and then you want equals all the numbers on the right. So I want the x term first, so I bring the 2x over the wall. What happens to the 2x when it comes over the wall? Minus 2x. Then I want the y term. Yeah, so then I want the y term. So the y term is here already. So what will I put? Plus y, yeah. There's no sign on that y, so that means it's a plus. Okay? And then I want the numbers over the other side. So the minus 2 is here already. The minus 3 has to come over the wall and become a plus 3. And then the last line is, I just put those two bits of numbers together. So I have minus 2x plus y equals minus 2 plus 3 is 1. And that's my answer. There's the equation of that line. Okay? Right? Are you ready to change it? Because you're going writing it all again, but I'm not. Example 2. Find the equation of the line through, C, minus 1, 2, and has a slope of minus 3. Okay? Okay, so you call your point, you get the point. What will I call the point? Minus 1, 2, what will I call it? x1 and y1. And what will I call the slope? So m equals minus 3. Is that okay? You all with me? Right, so then I don't fill in for y. Then I put a minus sign, then I fill in for y1. What is y1? Right, equals, what I put in for m? Minus 3. Don't fill in for x. Then I have a minus sign. And then what I put in for x1? Minus 1. So I've ended up with two minuses there in a row. What happens to two minuses in a row will give me a plus. Okay, so I have y minus 2 equals, multiply in here, what have we got? Minus 3x, careful, a minus by a plus is a minus, and 3 by 1 is 3. Is that okay? Now I want the x term first, then the y term equal to the number. So Here's my wall, right? Minus 3x comes over the wall, becomes plus 3x, doesn't it? Then the y is here already, so I'll put the y next. So how will I put the y? Plus y, right? Minus 3 is over this side already. Okay, minus 2 comes over and becomes a plus 2. And the last thing you have to do is just put the two bits of numbers together. So we get 3x plus y equals minus 3 plus 2 is 1. Is that alright? That's your answer. Right? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of these to do. Right? I just want to see how we get on. Right? So we're going to do page 259. Question 1, parts 1, 2 and 3, and all of question 3 then. So not the last part of question 1 because there's a fraction for a slope and I haven't shown you how to deal with that yet. So page 259, question 1, parts 1, 2 and 3, and all of question 3. Is that okay? Okay, will you clean your desk? Really important, clean your desk.